Buenas, welcome back to another video in España. So the topic of today's video is me telling you guys about what sort of content I've been watching from the very beginning, from level super beginner when I first moved to Spain to the content I'm watching now, I'd say after 6 months in Spain and around an intermediate level. But firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for the comments, all the love, all the support on my previous videos. To have over 1,000 videos on my last 1,000 views on my last video is really sick, and to have so many comments of support from especially the native Spaniards, yeah, it's really good, and definitely boosts the confidence. And yeah, I just want to say thanks, and I look forward to continuing the journey really. Hopefully in a year's time we'll be bossing the native content, the advanced media. So yeah, that'd be sick. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. And yeah, let's get into it. So in October, when I was level 0, just moved to Spain, the content I was watching was exclusively super beginner content on Dreaming Spanish. So what I did was filter from easy on super beginner videos and toggle only like Spanish videos, because I thought I'm living in Spain, I don't really want to hear other accents at the moment. I'm just gonna watch Spanish. So I did that for the first month or so until I hit the beginner stage. And yeah, that's just what I did for about an hour to an hour and a half every day for a month or so to reach the 50-hour mark on Dreaming Spanish. So yeah, when I hit the beginner level, I did the same basically, just toggled beginner videos by easy and by nationality. I do think this is great advice for anyone using Dreaming Spanish, is to definitely toggle by easy, because there is quite a big disparity between the difficulty in the same level, if that makes sense. So for example, an easy beginner video could be a lot easier than a hard super beginner video. So I think it's better just to toggle by easy and go from there. And I think after a couple months, when I was still in the beginner phase, I decided to buy Dreaming Spanish Premium. And I know this is £7 a month, and that can add up, but I do think it does change the game a bit, because so many of the interesting videos are behind a paywall. And yeah, I think it just opens up a lot more content, especially from at the beginner and super beginner phase. And I wish I just bought Premium at the start, to be honest, because yeah, it just makes all the videos a lot more interesting. There's more to choose from, so you don't feel like you have to watch every single video. And yeah, it's really good. And also, to be honest, I'm happy to pay it. I think what Pablo's done on Dreaming Spanish is amazing. And yeah, to support him, I'm more than happy to do that. It's better than spending £8 or £12 now on Spotify, some random company. So yeah. Phase 2, beginner. So in the beginner phase, I did had a quite similar strategy to the super beginner phase, where I just toggled by easy and by Spanish teachers, by Spanish videos on Dreaming Spanish, and just watched through those for about a month and a half to 2 months for the next 100 hours of comprehensible input on Dreaming Spanish. And about halfway through this phase as well, I started to slowly introduce myself to podcasts. It is quite hard to find podcasts for the lower levels, but podcasts I recommend, and lots of people have recommended on Reddit and the internet, are Cuéntame and Chill Spanish. They're short episodes for about 5 minutes, so you can't really rack up the time too well on these, but they're good if you're walking in the street or on a bus. You can listen to 3 or 4 in one go and get 20 minutes of input. So I think those are the best podcasts for the beginner learner, or maybe even the super beginner learner if you've had previous experience. So phase 3, I'll call this the pre-intermediate phase, maybe when you're maybe just above a beginner level but not quite a full intermediate learner. So the videos I watched in this phase were, again, Dreaming Spanish videos where I toggled by easy. However, a slight change that I did to my learning is I allowed myself to watch videos from other nationalities, for example, Mexico, Colombia, even some Argentinian videos as well, just to expand the range of content that was available to me and content I could watch. And I think this is a good decision, even though I do want to concentrate on the Spanish dialect, on the Spanish accent, as I think that's going to be more applicable to me throughout my life. I think it's not worth sabotaging or taking away potential videos that you think are going to be really interesting and interesting to you, just for the accent, as at the end of the day, Spanish is Spanish. Yeah, so that's a bit of advice I'd give to you guys. Now, in terms of podcasts, I think this can be a bit of an awkward transition going from the beginner podcast to the intermediate podcast, as unlike during Spanish, you can't gradually go through by difficulty and you just sort of have to make the jump. However, I've got 2 podcasts in mind that I think are slightly easier than the normal intermediate podcasts that I would suggest listening to, if you please. So one of them is Lengua Talk. This is by 2 Spaniards, one from Cadiz and one from Madrid, and their podcasts are really interesting. They talk about interesting topics like traveling, all those sort of things, and I think it is slightly easier than other intermediate podcasts that I'll talk about in the next phase. And there's also a podcast called Spanish and Go. It's called Spanish and Go, and it's by a Mexican and a gringo, by an American. Yeah, so according to Pablo's advice, you probably shouldn't listen to that in terms of listening to a non-native talking, as they might make slight mistakes, and she does occasionally correct him, maybe once every 2 episodes or 3 episodes. And I think because there is a non-native in the podcast, they don't speak as fast, so it's easier to comprehend, easier to understand. So I'd maybe recommend this for the pre-intermediate stage. So phase 4, the intermediate stage, and this is the stage I'm in now, and I do feel like I'm in a full-on, or I am a full-on intermediate learner. I feel like I can understand intermediate content to quite a good level, and I'm quite happy with that. So in terms of the videos, again, with Dreaming Spanish, toggle by easy. I have no nationality restrictions on this, and just sort of watch whatever I want. Same as the last phase. I have started to branch out onto YouTube to watch other things. So particular channels that I've watched, which I think are good, are Organic Spanish. I know, well, this woman isn't a native, again, she's Polish, but I think she speaks Spanish quite well, and she does quite interesting beginner and also intermediate vlogs. I've been watching both of them. And Spanish After Hours as well. This is a Spanish girl who does interesting vlogs. She's quite interesting and she makes videos fun. So those are 2 channels I'd recommend. So in terms of podcasts, I believe once you hit the intermediate stage, it opens up a world of possibilities. I do think there are loads of intermediate podcasts you can listen to. However, me personally, I'm trying to concentrate again on the Spanish dialect, so have narrowed my options down again. The podcasts I frequently listen to are Español con Juan. I've started to listen to Que Pasa, Lengua Talk as well. And yeah, those are the main 3 that I've been listening to. I also listen to the Dreaming Spanish podcast, which I really enjoy. However, there aren't many episodes and they release them about once a week, so I'm just sort of slowly going through those. That's about it really for my podcast. I don't listen to many others, as I'm trying to focus on the Spanish dialect. But if I find any more in the future, I'll definitely let you know. And there is a really helpful spreadsheet. I'm going to put the link in the description. Someone has created it of different podcasts and YouTube channels that are good to watch throughout the certain levels. So you can see all the intermediate podcasts on there. There are loads from Mexico, Colombia, any country you want. So yeah, I think that's great, and I'll definitely put that in the description for you guys to check out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopes and thoughts for the future, I think in a couple months, maybe. Maybe longer than a couple months, to be honest. Maybe in 5 to 6 months, I'd quite like to listen to advanced podcasts, and maybe by the end of the year be watching native media. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to progress, but I'm just taking it day by day. I'm trying to find some sports podcasts to listen to, as I'm normally quite interested in those and I listen to them in English. So I think to be able to translate my hobby into learning Spanish would be great. And yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to and something I'm currently searching for. So if anyone has any good sports podcasts that aren't too difficult to understand, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you soon.